Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a very special, very spooky edition of Sunday Night Live with me, Jonny Lipsham, and I've also got Rich Cresswell here, who I'll be bringing in just very shortly. But please note how the room is all red. I've switched my LEDs over to red because it's Halloween, and we've got some kind of mummy sitting in the Personas mug over there, which my son made for me. And yeah, we got lots of spookiness coming tonight. Tonight is the grand finale of the Halloween songwriting contest that we have had running for the last wee while. And we had more entries than I imagined that we would have. We had, I think, 15 entries altogether. And Rich and I spent probably the better part of a couple of hours yesterday listening to all the entries, and we have picked our winner, and we've picked two runners-up as well, because they were pretty darn good. the entries, pretty much everyone's entry was a very, very, very good effort. And so it was not exactly easy for us to pick a winner, but we have three outstanding entries that we're going to play for you tonight. But one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop into the chat in just a second a link to the spreadsheet where you can actually go and check out all the links to pretty much everyone's entry. The only entries that you won't see there are ones where I think 3 of you submitted attached WAV files or MP3s. And obviously, I can't attach those to a spreadsheet or something like that. You just can't do that. So unfortunately, those entries don't appear on that list, but everybody else's do. So everybody else that had like a link to a YouTube video or a Dropbox or something like that, those are all available there. Most entries were done by SoundCloud, which is kind of what we mentioned was going to be the easiest for everybody. Because I wanted to be able to make it easy for me and Rich to be able to access the music and listen to them, but also I wanted to be able to post up a list of all of the entries so that everybody could go and listen to everyone else's entry. So because I thought, it's good for us to share and listen to each other's work as well. So we're going to play the top 3, plus Rich is going to play one of his, and I'm going to play my one. And so, therefore, we should have a good amount of spookiness, and then we're going to announce who the winners are. Or who the winner is, I should say, and the 2 runners-up. All right, let's bring Rich into this. I've had to improvise. This is why we're a little bit late. We had a little bit of a technical problem, and I've had to improvise how I'm bringing Rich into the show because the normal way doesn't work. There is a bug in OBS that makes it not work. So I've had to improvise this a little bit. So stand by whilst I just get Rich positioned on the screen, and I will flip over to the screen, and you should now be able to see Rich, I'm hoping. I think everybody can see that. But hello, Rich. How you doing, buddy?
Very good. How's everybody else doing?
It's been a busy day here for me. I don't know about you, but we also had some really, really heavy rain overnight, so getting out and about has been pretty difficult because most of the roads out from where we are have been flooded. So getting out this morning was difficult, but managed to get out in the end, and it's still absolutely lashing it down with rain just now. So basically all those weather warnings that we had like 2 weeks ago, where we had like amber and red weather warnings, nothing happened. We have no weather warnings. We have flooding.
It always comes late.
Yes.
That's the thing about living in the middle of the UK where I am, is that, we've got the Peak District and all the water runs down from there, so it takes a couple of days to catch up.
Yeah, I mean, here where we are in, we're kind of like a wee bit south of Edinburgh. And Edinburgh's kind of in like a basin of what used to be like a lava plain from the three volcanoes that are in Edinburgh. So um, uh, we're kind of in that plain, and so the water basically just runs down from Edinburgh down to where we are. So if Edinburgh gets quite a lot of water, then eventually we get it. So, but anyway, we have loads of people here, and I'm very excited to inform you that Mike Johnson was the first one in the chat at 8:14 my time, which is like absurdly early for the show, but wonderful nonetheless. And Sean Aaron was second in the door, followed by Billy Morgan, and we got Chris Rachna here as well. We got Christina here, and Just Bob is here in spirit because he is working. God bless his heart. And we got Dave Barcelo here as well. We got Tony Stringer. We got Brett Marler, who is also working, but he says he's going to watch the replay, which is awesome. Thank you, Brett. Appreciate that. And we got Boris Dancy here as well. And we got Kyle Trujizia. We got Rock Tees. We've got Steve Thompson. We've got Daryl Harrison. We've got Tura Shiva. We've got... Who else do we have? We got Don Oliver here. And I think I mentioned Stephen Wilson already. And we got Frank Wagner. And Bobby Booth. And Paul Morgan. And Kevin from Kevin's Guitar Stories. We got John Lake here as well. And I'm going through to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Gardner99 is here. Semok Eng is here as well. And of course, Rich, you are here. And Jonny from Home Studio Trainer is here as well. He says he can't wait to hear them all, which is great. Yeah, we can't wait to play them for you, actually. We got Keith from Radio Top Front here as well. Awesome. I think I caught everybody. I don't think I missed anybody out. Anyway, so should we get this underway, Rich?
Let's do it.
All right. So first of all, Rich, tell me kind of what you thought of the entries overall that we had for the contest.
Yeah, I was really impressed by the fact that so many people took part and everybody tried to do something a little bit different. I don't think we came across anything that was like sounded like another piece of music, which is excellent. And we actually had some people take part that haven't really done music before.
Yep.
Haven't written any music before. And that to me was kind of like the biggest compliment. And I think that those people that took part that haven't done music before should really give themselves a big pat on the back, because that's a big step.
Definitely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. There were some fantastic entries, especially from those that you know, songwriting or composing is not really their bag at all. They're involved in, you know, other aspects of music like mixing or mastering or you know, basically just bringing people together. We got entries from people that's what they do. They just bring people together and get people collaborating, which is pretty cool that they took part as well. So yeah, we had some fantastic entries, but I think that the top three I think were particularly outstanding that we got.
Yeah.
So how do you want to do this, Rich? Should we announce who the top three are and then play their tunes, or
maybe we should do, because we haven't really sort of planned this sort of segment out how we would announce them. So I'm thinking maybe, I don't know how you feel about this, but maybe we'll play the top three and then maybe announce the winner. Okay.
We can do that. Okay, I am going to change screen just for a moment, so we'll just temporarily say bye-bye to Rich's face. just for a wee moment. And so that I can do this kind of behind the scenes a little bit. All right.
At Wix, get Dulux standard 2.5
and
litre
of course
coloured
we've got
emulsion.
ads.
Was £21 now.
All right, so I don't think we necessarily need to play them in any particular order, I think.
Yeah, any order's good.
All right, so I think we will start with... We'll start with this entry. And this, I believe, is Ron Figuera's entry. And it's called Evening Morning, which is a nice little play on words. So here it is. Autoplay's on. That's annoying. All right, so unfortunately, folks, for those that were saying it's a little bit quiet, this is as loud as the tracks are in SoundCloud, and I've got SoundCloud turned up as loud as it will go on my system, so I cannot turn it up any further. So those of you that are saying it's not loud, it's quiet, it's not loud, can't hear it all, you're gonna have to turn up your systems, guys, because this is as loud as the tracks are actually on SoundCloud. So this is not a me problem, this is a SoundCloud and the volume that these tracks were uploaded at. So it is what it is, and it's the best that I can do volume wise. So unfortunately, folks, you're gonna have to just turn up your volume controllers. So sorry about that. Nothing I can do, I'm afraid. All right, so that was one of the top three. The next one of the top three is by Bob Berda, and this is called Norture Daemonicus, which is an awesome title. I love that title. All right, so here it is. And there you go, folks. That was Noche Demonicus by Bob Berda, which was in our top 3. So that's 2 of our top 3 that we have now played for you. And so we're coming on to the final of our top 3 entries. And this actually has a music video that goes with it, which is kind of not part of the brief, but it's kind of an extra creative step that was not necessary. So the link to this will be in the spreadsheet, which I'm going to post up in just a few minutes. So you can go and check out the video, but the video is not really part of the brief. So I'm just going to play the audio of this. And then you can go and check out his video, and you can actually see how the audio fits the picture. Fits the picture really, really well. But I think the audio on its own stands on its own very, very successfully. So here we go. This is Cursed by the Troll Witch by Sean Aaron. Here it is. And there you have it. That was Cursed by the Troll Witch by Sean Aaron. So that's our top 3 entries from everybody. And if you just bear with me one moment, I am just going to try and get the screen organized back again. After that, oh, where's Rich? There he is. Oh, I love it, Rich. I love the scary mask.
No problem at all.
All right, so we've got 2 more tracks to play for you before we announce our winner. Rich, do you want to go first?
Let's see. I did a couple, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play this one.
We can get it playing. There we go.
There we go, folks.
Awesome. That's really, really cool. Very, very dark. Definitely very, very dark. All right. Yeah, Peter Brooks was asking what's wrong with the sound. It did sound like it garbled a little at one point. So I don't know what happened there. It's possibly something to do with Messenger. I don't know. Maybe if you're able to render that, we can put a link in the chat to that or something for people to have a listen to, Rich.
Yeah, I can do that.
Cool. All right. But yeah, it went kind of into a tunnel for a wee bit, I think is what happened. It's not Zoom because we're not using Zoom, Ron. So we're using Messenger here. So, but yeah, it was fine for most of it. And then it just kind of sounded like it went underwater for the last maybe 20 seconds or so. That must be a Messenger thing because I'm sure it sounded fine at your end.
Yeah, it sounded okay.
Yeah.
But it happens, this is what you get when you're streaming audio over to you and then you to YouTube and then YouTube to the rest of the world,
It's going through so many pit stops, like, it's coming into me, then it's coming into OBS. Well, it's coming to me via Messenger, then it's coming into OBS, and then it's going out to YouTube. So somewhere packets are getting kind of screwed somewhere in that little chain. But it is what it is. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, we'll get a link to that in the chat, and you can check that. You can check Rich's out at your own leisure. All right, so I will play my one, and then we will announce our winner. So my one is called Soufriere, which is, by the way, that is the name of the volcano on the Caribbean island of St. Vincent, which had a very explosive eruption maybe about 25 years ago or so, that was hugely damaging. But what fascinated me about the story of that particular eruption was the prelude to that eruption. There was quite a big build up to it. So, you know, it was the people kind of knew that an eruption was coming. They didn't know when it was going to come, but they knew it was coming. So there was that sense of anticipation and foreboding, which is what I wanted to capture with my piece, called Soufriere. And there you go. That was my piece called Souffrere, which I wrote probably in maybe about 3 hours, 2-3 hours it took me. Thank you, Rich, for the tennis clap, the golf clap. All right, so I hope everybody has enjoyed the 5 pieces of music that you got to hear there. Our 3 very, very, very good entries that all fulfilled the brief that we gave everybody, and fulfilled them with flair, I think I have to say. So I think perhaps we should announce the winner.
Yeah. I mean, just before we do, who in the chat thinks should win?
Oh,
I'm interested.
Good question. All right, folks. Who thinks who should win? Get it in the chat what you guys think. Who you think should win.
I mean, we've already made a decision, but
yeah, it's not going to change anything. But it'd be interesting to
no. But it'd be interesting to see whether people will agree with us or not.
That's a good point. Yes.
And then we can go and book a holiday, and to avoid being chased with pitchforks.
Yeah, I've already made plans to change my identity.
Yeah. Oh, they're coming in. They're coming in.
They are coming in. Just Bob wants to know who the top 3 were. Top 3 were in no particular order. Bob Berder and Sean Aaron and
Ron Figura.
And
Ron Figura.
Ron Figura. Yes. There we go.
Okay, I'm seeing those come through, and it seems like there is a name popping out just slightly.
There is, yeah. I want to see a few more. I see a few more entries here to see if they confirm it for us.
Turashiva is I like them all, but you got to pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peter Bricks wants to know what time did the show start. It started basically whenever we have daylight savings time, or we go back to GMT here in the UK. I always keep it at 6 p.m. Central. All right. So the only people that get affected are people in the UK. It either goes, it either is at midnight UK or it's 11 p.m. So because our clocks have just changed, it's 11 p.m. for I think this week and next week, and then I think it goes back to midnight again if you're in the UK. But otherwise, 6 p.m. Central Time is always the time.
Well, we've had one of the top 3 that I can see make their vote.
Yep, I've seen that too. I am seeing a general consensus in agreement with us, though, I think.
Just slightly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, it was, for the top 3, it was relatively tight because,
yeah.
We said from the beginning, it wasn't about, the production quality.
Yeah.
It was about, taking the Locrian B natural 6 scale, which is always a mouthful.
Yes.
And doing something creative and interesting with it, and being scary and creepy and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the top 3 really, knocked it out of the park. Did a really good job.
That was the thing. I think we established the top 3 reasonably quite quickly. And then there was quite a bit more deliberation over which one of those stands out the most.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's time to announce the person, but before we do, a huge round of applause to everybody that took part.
Definitely.
And, you know, there's a few people, as we mentioned a little bit earlier, that have, you know, entered the challenge who have not really done music composition before, writing music.
Yep.
And I was actually very, very impressed specifically by those people. And you know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, me too.
That made it worthwhile for me.
Yeah.
You know, and although we're not, you know, the prizes here, you know, we're not going to be, you know, paying off your mortgage for a year or, you know, something fabulous like that. It was really nice to see people be enthused by it and get involved. That was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think the excitement over this project and this contest and the number of entries we got took me a little bit by surprise that we had as many as we did, which is great, because then it gave us a little bit more of a challenge to whittle it down to top 3, and then from there whittle it down further to who's actually won this thing. So before we get on to actually who has won this, can you explain a little bit about what the prize is and how they go about getting it?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do when we've announced the winner is I'm going to try and reach out to that person either in the chat here. I'm going to provide my email address. I want them to let me know, obviously, where they live so I can get something shipped out to them. And they're going to be able to pick essentially not what they want, because that, you know, that there are limits to all things. But we said from the beginning there, you know, we're going to give people the opportunity to pick something that they need or something that they want that helps them create music, whether that's a microphone, an interface. Heck, it could be a pair of like banging guitar cables. It could be something like that, you know, so they can pick something and they're not going to feel sort of restricted. So we're always looking at things, you know, on our shelves and maybe on our desks, and you're like, that piece of kit I've got, it's a bit smelly now and I need to replace it with something new.
Yeah.
You know, or, you know, maybe you need a microphone, or you need some speakers or something like that. So we're going to give people the opportunity, you know, with contests moving forward, the opportunity to sort of pick things. We're not going to do these contests all the time because, you know, you've got to be realistic. I think it's always useful to do these kinds of things around times when there's a bit of a theme.
Yeah.
So Christmas is coming up, and, you know, it'd be nice to know thoughts in the comments about what you would like the Christmas contest to be. Because we kind of set the rules on this one. We said, no, B natural Lockerian, B Lockerian natural 6 scale. That's what we're doing it to. But this time we want to give you guys maybe a bit of a shout in terms of what it is. Do you want to do your own composition? Do you want to do a remix? Do you want to write some music to a backing track or just some percussion? Throw it in the chat, and then we'll sort of deliberate, and then we might provide some updates in the coming weeks.
Yeah. Exactly. 100%.
Should we do a drum roll? Do we have a drum roll sound, or should we just pretend?
Yeah, I don't have one.
Okay, everybody in the chat do a drum roll sound.
Yeah, type in the chat, drum roll.
The winner of the 2023 Halloween challenge is Sean Aaron.
Yay, Sean! Congratulations, Sean Aaron. Absolutely, congratulations, buddy. Outstanding. You put in a lot of effort into that, and you really understood our brief exceedingly well. and you were very, very creative with it. And it totally blew us both away. I think when we sat and listened to it, we were both just like, wow. Totally.
Yeah.
Not just because it was a great piece. In broad terms, it was more kind of, you took the things that we had provided and you took the limitations that we had set and you did something really creative with those, and you fulfilled what we asked for in a very, very, very creative way. And we talked about there being a clearly defined progression through the piece. We talked about there being a clearly defined beginning, middle, and ending. And you developed some melodic ideas and some instrumentation ideas, which you brought back. So you kind of hooked us in with that little melodica figure at the start, and then you brought that back later. And there was some other compositional elements there that, for me, I just thought, yep, you've absolutely nailed the brief. What do you think?
It was. I mean, they were all great, but for me, when I was listening to Sean Aaron's music, I had a wow moment. I was like, wow, that was really cool. And I was very impressed. I've heard many people that are in that sort of top three. I've heard their music before.
Yeah.
And although it wasn't part of the contest, it shouldn't have any bearing on it. When we spoke about, it not being about the production quality, I could just sense like a massive improvement in terms of, the sound quality, of course, but like that particular piece of music was just like, it was interesting, kept me engaged, and I never got bored. It was like it was a different bite every time. It was really cool.
Yep. For me, it was one of those pieces where, if you listen to it several different times, maybe you take a break between each time you listen to it, you find something that wasn't there the last time you heard it, which for me is a good indicator of a really good, well thought out composition. Yeah.
And can everybody in the chat say hi to Sean Aaron's mom? She's watching as well, I believe. So.
Oh, awesome. Hello, Sean Aaron's mom. Glad you're watching. That's super exciting. That's very, very cool. Bobby Booth has an interesting comment.
Ooh.
He says, in my opinion, every mixer should know what it takes to produce some kind of music. Great experience. Yes, I think so too. I think Bobby's made a really prescient comment there, because he is, we kind of mentioned in passing, people that have taken part, that submit a piece, who they're not composers at all. They're not music makers in that sense, but they are music makers in that they mix. And Bobby Booth, I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning, he did actually submit. And there were a couple of other submissions from other people that also they're not composers, they're not songwriters, and so Bobby is one of those. And I just want to.
We were impressed actually with his submission.
We were, because you've never done anything like that before. But you actually, what you proved to us is that, you proved that you're not just a mix engineer, even though you kind of talk like that's all you do. You're just a mix engineer, but I think there's a good understanding of music and the process that goes into making a piece of music make sense. And I think you're right, Bobby. I think that every mix engineer should know how this process works, and they should know kind of what goes into making a composition work, all the compositional elements, because if you have some understanding of those things, then when you're mixing, when you're doing automation, you can bring up those elements that are the extra kind of ear candy things like counter melodies and things like that. You can bring them to the fore when they need to be, and you can duck them back when they don't need to be up front. And you can bring a different section through that has a bit of call and response going with them, with whatever instrument is holding the melody. So understanding how those kind of things work, I think, gives a mix engineer a real advantage over somebody that's not really a composer or arranger, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe you're putting together or put together a spreadsheet.
I have.
That
I'm just
to get access to.
I'm just about to.
Yeah, because Bob's just put in the chat there. Can we hear a sample of Bobby's? And for those of people that sent links, obviously you can listen to those. And then there's obviously some that we received where we received like a WAV file or an MP3, and I suppose really that's up to those people if they wanna upload them. We did encourage it because it's important to publish your music so other people can listen to it.
We've had some requests to play the winning entry again, so I think we should do that.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's a good song, right? So
definitely. So I'm going to hit replay. This time with music video. Helps if I turn my mic back on. All right, everybody. I'm going to bring Rich back in, but just stand by one whilst I sort the screen out for that, because I'm having to do everything flipping manually. And it's annoying. There's me, and there's Rich. All right, so fantastic effort all round by everybody that submitted an entry. And I know some of you submitted multiple entries. And all of them were superb.
Yeah, they were. They really were.
All of them were really, really great. And thank you so much, everybody, for taking part in this and just being really good sports about it and putting in some hard work. And for a good number of you, kind of stepping outside of your comfort zones and creating something that is not in your wheelhouse. It's not in your style of music. It's not your bag at all, but everybody gave this a good shot. And it turned out to be really, really good. The standard was high. And so, to be honest, I can't wait for the next challenge.
Yeah, and I think you know, but the next challenge, obviously, it's clearly going to be Christmas oriented.
Yep.
You know, and I appreciate, you know, not everyone, you know, does Christmas, but you know, it's a nice time of the year, you know, where we hopefully can, you know, reacquaint ourselves with our families and, you know, or, you know, shake the hand of a stranger. So think of something that, you know, you would like to do as part of that challenge. Do you want to completely write your own music from scratch? Do you think that would be, you know, too much of a challenge? Or would you rather have, you know, sort of, I'm not saying a helping hand, but would you want some guidance from, you know, myself and Jonny to sort of bolster your attempts at a Christmas song? I think Rock Teasers put a metal Christmas carol. That would be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, if you guys want to do Christmas carols in different genres, like where your wheelhouse is, then I think that would be something that could be good.
Yeah, that's actually, you know, not too bad of an idea. I mean, there's I'll have a look. I do believe, because obviously a lot of the old Christmas carols and whatnot are now sort of out of their sort of copyright restrictions. So we might be able to get away with a few. I think I'll research.
Yeah. We'll make sure that if we can get away with copyright, and particularly because, you know, this show is done on YouTube, I don't want to kind of find myself getting a content ID match as opposed to a copyright strike, where they just go, hey, this is Winchester Carol, and there's like out there on YouTube there's like 50 different versions of the same tune, but it would just ID the tune. So that'd be annoying.
Danny Taylor's put in there, same challenge for Christmas, be Locker in Natural Six as well. That would be
super dark Christmas.
Rob Kane's put in the chat as well, how about two challenges? One, you know, a reimagining of a Christmas song, and then the other one being, you know, a written original. That's not a bad shout, you know.
It's
maybe
not
giving people the option to, you know, reimagine one song that they particularly like or they want to redo, and also give people the option to write an original. I mean, you're going to be stacked up against some of the old Christmas songs because they're really good, but if you want to write an original that's better, that would be cool.
Yep, absolutely. And you know, like you said, not everybody does Christmas. Some do Hanukkah as well, which kind of falls at the same kind of time of year. I do both Hanukkah and Christmas. That's what we do in our household. Being, you know, we're Christian, but I'm Jewish as well. So you know, we kind of do both. But you know, even those that have no religion whatsoever.
Well, I'm a dirty atheist, and I still do Christmas. It's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You can't be a nice Christmas tree and turkey and way too much wine and that kind of thing. So if you want to get into that, maybe what we'll come up with is the option for you to write like a little 90-second Christmas carol, and we'll maybe include just a couple of little restrictions. Like, you got to have sleigh bells in it. Even if it's even if it's metal, you've got to have sleigh bells in it.
I mean, I will supply you with some sounds if that's necessary. You know, if you're without, because you don't want to be going online and trying to find sleigh bell sounds on some dodgy website, or spending your hard-earned money just simply to enter a contest, you know, that you might win in. So I will help you folks out with that.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea. Is, you know, you can write your own piece, you can do an arrangement of an existing carol, but you've got to have these kind of key ingredients that we're looking for. So that could be sleigh bells, that could be a reference to a particular culinary Christmas item, you know, something that you eat at Christmas, got to have a reference to that in there. So even if you have to twist original lyrics of like an existing song to kind of make that happen, then you can certainly butcher a Christmas song to make that fit.
And if for anybody that's trying to think of a name for their Christmas song, Rock Tease is providing all of the ammunition you need in the chat. A good one there is Slayer Bells.
Slayer Bells. Oh yeah. I have an amusing Slayer story actually. A friend of mine who's a great jazz drummer actually, and he's also a big Slayer fan, and I'm not. It's just not my kind of music, but he took me to this Slayer gig, and it was one of the best gigs I've ever been to, because it was just frankly hilarious from start to finish. And the funniest moment for me was the start, and because I was just not sure, am I really going to get on with this band? You know, I kind of need to know in the first few minutes. So the guys walk out on stage, and this guy who is the lead singer, I know nothing about Slayer, so Slayer fans, please, I apologize. But this mild-mannered guy comes up to the mic, and or he doesn't look mild-mannered, but when he speaks into the mic, he's kind of mild-mannered with a slightly West Country accent, and he goes, "Right there, where's Slayer?" And it's like, and our first song is "Whoa!" and they just launch into it, and I was just wetting my pants laughing, because the juxtaposition of this mild-mannered little West Country dude, and they're all playing this particular brand of music. It was just the funniest juxtaposition ever. And I thought,
and awesome fans, lovely people that you'll see in the crowd. Everyone looks after each other, you know. And
I had the best time.
Apart from those that are in the pit, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's a free for all. So.
I had the best time, and they were fantastic, and the interaction between the band and the fans was hysterically funny. And I had such a great time, and I thought, okay, that's kind of. I became a bit of a Slayer fan, because I just thought these guys really perform their asses off, and they work hard to interact with their audience. They're really good performers. What's not to like, even if it's not really my kind of music? It didn't matter. But I had a fantastic time, and a whole bunch of my preconceived notions were just blown out of the way. Totally. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, Slayer Bells. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, aside from what's been put in the chat already, which is awesome, you know, about Christmas song ideas, have a think about it. You know, you've got Songwriting Simplified coming up, you know, in a few days. So you can come back in the chat, and you can, you know, tell us whether you've thought about anything else, and we'll have a think as well in the meantime, and then we'll come up with something.
Yeah, and we'll take our cue from you guys. So if there is like a broad consensus for either doing an original piece with sprinkled things from us, or doing a a reimagining of a traditional carol, then
Yeah.
you know we'll go with that, and we'll be guided by you, I think. And on that note, we are 10 minutes over, but I mean, you know, it's an early start for us, so I didn't mind running over a wee bit. And of course, it was the grand finale of our contest, so I didn't mind running over a wee bit. But
Yeah.
Rich, thank you so very, very much for very
Grim
kindly
Hands for Christmas challenge.
for very kindly and very generously sponsoring the Halloween 2023 challenge. It's been awesome to have you involved and have you as a partner on Jonny Lipsham Studios. It's great. I love it. So thank you very much, and looking forward to our next contest for Christmas. It's going to be outstanding again. So what we will say is, if you want to take part in the Christmas challenge, please consider uploading it to SoundCloud or Bandcamp or somewhere that is linkable, so that we can create another spreadsheet so that everybody can go and listen to everybody else's work.
I'm not saying this is a defo yet, because obviously we haven't spoken about this yet, but I think it should be a prerequisite that, you know, it's something that's linked to, you know, there's so many music services out there that will host your music for you.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a challenge with some of the WAV files that were sent via Dropbox and a few other things. So having them on like SoundCloud or, like you say, BandLab, there's, I mean, heck, even YouTube, you could upload it to YouTube.
Yeah, like Sean did. Yeah. I mean, that's not to say you have to make a music video. You don't. It can just be a static image for the whole thing. It's fine. But on that note, guys, whilst that is still very much uppermost in your mind, there is an after show that Billy is going to host with, I believe Ron is going to co-host that as well. So if you want to all come and join us for the after show party to revel and celebrate with Sean Aaron and his win, and to congratulate him, then please do come on over there. The link is in the chat. Otherwise, it's going to be a very good night from me, and
a very good night from him.
Until then, folks, good night. And we're going to play something to play out with. Good night.